Guys, kia ora, whakaalofa lahiatu, and welcome back to this week's podcast episode. I'm so happy that you are here. Welcome. If you are new to this space, I'm so glad that you have found us. And when I say us, I mean me. As you can see on the YouTubes, I am still in a different setting. Carpet and skirting boards have been measured, but they haven't put anything in yet. So I think it's going to be a couple of weeks actually before my house goes back to normal. But honestly, since this whole thing has happened, it's made me want to change my whole house aesthetic. Like I've started looking at really retro, funky, I just want some color. I want some apparently there's a word for it, but it's things that when you see them in their house that makes you happy or makes you feel some type of way. That's what I want my house to feel like now. So I want funny things. I want cool, hip, retro things, stuff like that. Old school things, all the things. So we'll see how we go anyway. Color, we need more color. At the moment it's just black, gray, white, boring. Anyways, on this week's podcast episode, I am talking about, I think the podcast title I put up is what are you going to do before the year ends? And I just want to preface this by saying this isn't some scarcity tactic there's only 36 days till the end of the year. What are you doing? Hurry, get your goals and dreams and all the kinds of things. And make you feel shit and you're a failure and what have you done with the whole year? You've done nothing and picked yourself up kind of moment. That's not what we're here for, right? This is instead I want to, and actually I'll tell you the reason why, because y'all know I am getting my life coaching certificate, right? I obviously already do coaching and stuff like that, but I'm just getting my certificate to kind of have the tools in the tool belt and all the kinds of things, and just become better. I'm all about that, becoming better and personal development, right? So I'm doing that. When I first started, so I enrolled at the start of this year in January, and I had worked it out and I was like, I'm going to finish in December, right? Yo, it is November and I am halfway. I feel like I'm even not even close to, am I halfway? Whatever, right? I'm not there. I'm not at December. And initial thought was to be what the fuck have you been doing, Leash? What are you up to? I looked through my calendar. I was like, damn, there's been a couple of months where I haven't done anything at all. When it comes to studying, and because I'm doing it all online, right? And on calls and stuff like that. So, you don't have somebody who's you go to work for these, to school for these certain amount of hours. It's not in person. It's not, it's totally up to you as to what you want to do. And obviously other things have taken priority over it and all these kinds of things. Anyway, it's so easy for me to go on this downward spiral of, oh, you're fucking useless. You didn't even do your one, goal. You're supposed to be finished in December. You're not even halfway, or you're just halfway. It's going to take you till next year in the middle of the year and all this, and you don't have your certificate yet and all these kinds of things. You can make yourself feel shit about how you're so behind, and you're never behind, baby. You're always right where you need to be. And that's what I had to do. I had to give myself a pep talk. I had to practice, self-compassion, the acronym that I use, ACT, start using that, right? Using the tools that I have. And I was like, you know what I'm going to do? Instead of being oh, what have you not done? I'm going to ask myself, what can I do before the year ends? What am I capable of before the year ends? Instead of waiting for the new year and be fuck it, I'm just going to do it in the new year. January is a couple months away. I'll start my goals then. I'll, start looking after myself then, and looking after my body and moving my body and loving my body. And I'll start in January. It's what can you do before the year ends? What are some goals before the year ends? You don't need a new year for goals, right? You can start goals at any point of the year, at any time, right? You don't need a new year. So, like I said, there's 36 days left. You can do so much in that amount of time. So, what I was thinking was to look over your 2023 goals on this podcast right now. So, whatever your 2023 goals is, I have a notes app where I just keep all my goals there. So, wherever you've written it, if you've written it in a diary, go and get it now, sis. Pause this, go and get your shit, come back, because I want you to look at those goals and I want you to look at what you have achieved. Now, something I started at the start of this year was this little bad boy. If you're not on YouTube, you're not going to be able to see, but it's just a jar full of post-it notes that I've written on, and they all got accomplishments from 2023. So it's like jam-packed, y'all. You can see that it's jam-packed. So these are all my achievements that I've made in 2023. And the other day I actually went through and I was like, wait, what? Like, I feel like I haven't done any for a little bit of time. So I added more, and those are all my achievements in there. And it's so easy to be like, whether the achievement be small or big, sometimes we just forget what we've done. Like some of those things in there, I was like, damn, that was this year. Like at the start of this year, I was still doing so extra. The sunglasses, right? I was still doing that. I didn't close it till like June, and I didn't even realize it feels like it was years ago that I stopped doing it, right? So looking at what you have achieved and patting yourself on the back for that, clapping for yourself for that, So what have you achieved? Because I want you to remember that at the end of the day, we're doing the best that we can. Yeah, you might have had all these goals, but shit might have happened in 2023. Things might have come up. Priorities might have changed. And you might not even want to do some of the things that are on that list anymore. I was looking through my list and it was like talking about sunglasses and opening up a pop-up store and all these kinds of things. And I was like, I don't even own that business anymore. Like, take that off, and I want you to look at the list and take off the things that you don't want to do anymore. Take those things off the list. I want you to tick all the things that you have done and give yourself like the freaking celebrations, the accomplishments, the pats on the back, whatever you do, whatever your kind of ritual for yourself is. I want you to do that for yourself for all the things that you have done. And one thing I love to do is I love to think about what used to be a problem in my life that's no longer a problem. For a lot of my clients, the problem used to be that they hated what they saw in the mirror, and now they're okay with what they see in the mirror, or now they don't even associate. It's that neutrality, right? They're in the mirror, it's neutral, right? My body's the least impressive thing about me, right? Have you seen my mind? Have you seen my incredible mind that creates all these amazing things in the world and stuff? So it's, what are the things that used to be a problem? It might be, I don't know, your relationship might have been a problem. Now you guys are fucking awesome. You guys are amazing together. It might be the binge eating and now you're okay, right? Or now you are intuitive eating or whatever it is, right? So what used to be a problem that's no longer a problem? It might have been finances, and now you're good. Now you're not in a whole bunch of debt, or now you're not living paycheck to paycheck. So what used to be a problem that's no longer a problem? I just want to reiterate to take the things off, take the shit off that you're no longer doing or you don't want to do anymore. They might be like, learn, I don't know, fucking Spanish or something. And it's like, why did I even put that in the first place? Like, I don't want to do that. Like, it's just something you put on the next year. It never becomes a priority. You never do it. It's just something you keep adding to the next year and the next year. Take that shit off, right? What do you still need to accomplish? So for me, it's my coaching course, right? There was a couple of months where I didn't do anything towards that coaching course. So what are these things that you need to accomplish? And instead of, like I said, beating yourself up about it, what can you do before 2023 ends? So I want you to think of one thing. And yes, I said one thing that you can do before 2023 ends. I don't want it to be like, oh my gosh, I've got 500 things here. I need to do all of these before the year ends. So every day I'm going to fucking do this and I'm going to punish myself and I'm going to read the books and that's all I'm going to do every day. No, just one thing. What's one thing you can do before the year ends that you can kind of tick off, right? And I want you to break it down into smaller tasks. And I talked about this on my Instagram as well, because one of my goals was to read 12 new books this year. So one every month, right? I read like I think 6 books. It was 6 books. It's about to be 7 actually, because I just started reading one last night as well, and I love it so much. I feel like I'm going to finish it soon. So, um, fuck, what did I say? 6 books. Yeah. So I wanted to read 12 books. I did about half of that right. And instead of punishing myself and being like, I need to read like 6 more books in 36 days, it's like, no, what's the book that you can finish? There's this book that I want to finish before the end of the year. So then that makes it 7, right? So it's just like getting to 7. And then however many pages there is, you want to divide that by how many days, divide it by the 36 days. How many pages do you need to read a day? And for me, it was 4 pages. I just needed to read 4 pages a day to finish this book. Easy. We want to make it so easy. It's just like it's just what's the word? Like there's no brain power that needs to go on. It's no, there's no, it's a no brainer. That's what you want to do it so that it's a no brainer. 4 pages a day reading a book, easy, and you'll find that you'll read more. So I was actually doing 8 pages a day, and sometimes I'd do freaking 10, because I was just enjoying the book, right? So instead of crucifying yourself about, not achieving that goal, not reaching the 12 books that I was supposed to, I only did 6. It's like, what can you do to just kind of get yourself that one step closer without fucking punishing yourself for it, right? So what can you do before the year ends? And I love this quote. I think it's from Bill Gates, but he says most people overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in 10 years, right? And I'm actually listening to an Audible, and it's that one thing. I can't remember who it's by, but one thing, and it talks about just focusing on the one thing, right? We have to-do lists, but it's like, no, we need a success list. Like, what's going to get us one step closer to the one thing that you're focusing on? So, what's that one thing you can do before the end of the year? And I've also taken this amongst like my goals for 2024, like putting out, instead of trying to do all these amazing things, what would I love to achieve in 2024? I would have love to achieve a million things, right? But instead, I'm just doing 3 main things. What's 3 main things that I would love to achieve by the end of 2024, the end of next year? Just 3. So my 3 main things is finishing my coaching course, going full time in coaching as well, and clearing some of my debt. Those are the 3 things, right? So what's the 3 main things that you want for 2024? That by the end of 2024, you've done those 3 things. It's like, fuck, this was an amazing, successful year, right? That's those 3 things. I would be fucking over the moon to have those 3 things done, right? And if you struggle with thinking big, and dreaming, I want you to think of what you would do if money, time, resources weren't a problem, where you couldn't fail. What would you do, right? And if you got exactly what you wanted, what would you do? What would those goals and dreams look like? What would you do, right? So talking about, wanting to do a million things, and me just coming up with 3 main things now, because in the past, and a lot of people, I feel like, if you picture, a whole bunch of empty cups, so those empty cups represents all your goals for 2024. There might be 10, there might be 15, there might be 20, there might be 30, there might be 50, whatever. There's all these empty cups, right? And you're slowly pouring into each of the cups. So it's like, okay, you're doing, one of those goals. So you pour a little bit into that cup, and then you pour another one into another goal and another goal, and you spend the whole 346, 56, however many days there's in a year, 350, 60, 365. Fucking hell. You spend the whole 365 days pouring into these 50 different cups, right? Whereas if you just had 3 cups and you spent 365 days pouring into those 3 cups, all those cups are going to be full. They're going to be done. Those goals are going to be sorted, right? Where if you're pouring a little bit into each of those 50 cups, you're going to have half empty cups by the end of the year. You're going to have quarter way. You're going to be nearly full, but not quite there, not quite accomplished, right? So there's these different levels. So it's just focus on three things, even one thing. And that book that I was talking about, The One Thing, I think that's what it's called. It's so good. You should read it. It's really, really good. But it talks about focusing on that one thing, and how we can't multitask and we can't do a million things. Like, just focus on that one thing. Focus on what's going to get you to that next level, not all the fluff and all the shit that we kind of add on to, right? Also, who is the person that you need to become? Who do you need to become to be this person? So someone who wants to finish their coaching course doesn't go out drinking on the weekends. And I actually had my Christmas party the other night for Mahi, and I stayed way longer than I should have. And it wasn't till the next day. Like, I stayed till midnight. So we got to work at 10 a.m. I started work at 10 a.m. Then we went paintballing. And then about 2, 3 p.m. we went to this bar and had like drinks and food and all that kind of thing. And a lot of people left at like 5, 6 p.m. But no, I stayed late, and I stayed till midnight, y'all. And then it wasn't till I was waiting for Mets to pick me up that I started like journaling in my notes app. That's what I do a lot of. And I was just writing out my thoughts, and I was like, fuck, I stayed here way longer than I should have. I could have been at home doing coaching stuff. Like, I shouldn't do this. Who was I? Like, what, because that's someone who wants to finish their coaching course, or someone who wants to go full time in their coaching business doesn't waste their time out drinking. You're focusing on that one thing, right? She stays in and she studies, she works on her coaching business. And someone that wants to be debt free doesn't go out on these shopping sprees buying shit that she doesn't need, using the money that she should be using to pay the debt, right? So who do you need to be? Someone who wants to go full time in her coaching business offers her services every step of the moment she can. Somebody says, hey, I'm interested in coaching, as a walking by comment. It's like, you jump on that and you offer your services and you put yourself out there and you do all the things that puts your business out there, right? So who do you need to become to be that person that achieves that goal? Not going out on weekends, not partying, not saying no to people, saying no to certain things that's not going to help you become that person, right? And I would recommend to check out I think it's the podcast I did early this year in January. It was setting yourself up for success in 2023, because that one really goes over goals and stuff like that. But the question and the point of this podcast is to be like, what are you and what can you do? What are you willing to do before the year ends? You don't need a new year to start these goals, or you don't need to crucify yourself for what you haven't done. It's what can you do before the year ends? 36 days left in the year. What can you do? Can you read the 4 pages of the book? Can you do a little bit of your studies to get you to the next stage? Can you start eating a healthy, balanced diet? Can you start working on that limiting belief and how you hate what you see in the mirror? Can you start working on creating a beautiful relationship with your friends and your family, or with your partner? What can you do? What's one thing that you can focus on in the next 36 days to make 2023 a successful year? What can you do instead of crucifying yourself about what you haven't done? That's the podcast, y'all. I love you so much. What an amazing, incredible year it has been. Honestly, I thank you so much for being here. I just love you so much, and I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful and thankful for you. Thanks for listening once again. Ka kite, koe kia.